1 something. We are live, brother man. What's going
Are we
down?
live? Are we live?
Yo,
Yo, man. Hey, this is the first Instagram live, man. Let's get it going.
or YouTube live.
YouTube live. My bad. It's not even Instagram, man. This is the first YouTube live, man, that we've ever done. We're excited to do it, man. We're doing this to celebrate the fact that we're on episode 20, which is
Yes.
dope, man. So, man, everybody, welcome to Rap and Reason Podcast Live Edition, episode 20. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Jeremy C. McCool.
And I'm Earl Hopkins. What's going on with y'all, man?
Man, what's good, bro, man? It's good to be here, man. We made it to 20.
I know it's crazy. Like we talked about this offline. It's just like it's crazy. Like when we conjured this idea wherever we were at, whether it was cigar lounge or kicking it at one of our, our people's cribs. Like I never thought it would come to this. So I'm just happy to see where it's going forward, bro. Because I see a lot of movement, a lot of motion to come from this, like what's happened already, but also like, what we don't see. I'm excited for that too.
Absolutely, bro. I could not agree with you more. Long time coming. We made it. And yeah, man, look, y'all keep supporting and we'll keep giving y'all episodes, man. It's dope that we've stayed consistent with it. We haven't missed a week yet. Proud to be able to say that. And yeah, man, we'll keep rocking out. As long as y'all keep supporting, we'll keep giving you episodes, man.
That's all we can do. Man, what's the first on the agenda, bro? We got a lot to talk about. It was a busy week. I feel like a lot of people dropped. But before we get into that, I know we got to talk about like Aries Spears' rap list, right? That was one of the worst top 20 lists I've ever seen in my life, bro.
Awful top 20 list. Man, so Aries Spears went on, I want to say it was Vlad TV. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty adamant about trying not to watch Vlad TV. But somehow, some way, I end up finding some of those clips occasionally. But with that being said, actually, bro, look, we're live, but let's just talk to them for a minute because this mic isn't connected.
Oh, it's not connected.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So let's chop it up regular for a quick second. I want to make sure that we get this right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make sure. So we'll run it back. Let me see. StreamYard doesn't give me the option to really switch my mic over. Can you do it? You might have to do it on your end.
That's crazy. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, let me edit.
Yeah, man, we live. Come on,
we live, baby. So it's not giving you the option. Is it doing it from your computer or no?
No, it doesn't give me an option to change. It just gives me an option to turn it on, but it doesn't give me an option to change my microphone.
So weird, yeah. Okay.
If not, it's cool. You can hear me, but I just want to make sure that the quality is as great as possible for the listeners.
Okay. So all I can do, what I'm gonna do is boot you and then add you back. Let's see if I can do that.
All right, let's try it out.
Yeah, let me see, man. Okay, it's only letting me do that. I'm gonna boot you and then bring you back.
All right, bet.
Hold on. Yeah, it's just me, y'all. What's going on? We're gonna bring Dr. McCool back on here. See if we can work some kinks out, man. Like this whole thing is new for us. So that's why it took us a minute to get everything right. But we're doing what needs to be done. That's all you can do, essentially, right? So yeah, let me get my man's back, yo. Like I said, a lot of music has dropped over the course of the few weeks. But we're going to get into all of it as well as the music news. That's my favorite thing to get into, frankly. It's just the music news. I'm a gossipy type of dude. So, that's my favorite. I'm always having to tell Dr. McCool, yo, we got to tackle this. He just want to get to the music, which I totally understand. But, I'm messy. I'm a little messy, like professionally messy. So that's why I get into certain things, or I want us to get into certain topics. And I'm happy at a chance when we get to, But yeah, let's just wait for Dr. McCool to get on. In the meantime, there we go. Let me add you back, bro. Before I do, let me give you an opportunity to possibly edit your mic. My brother, did you get a chance to edit your mic? If let me see, because it's not letting me do it. Okay. And say something. Let's see if we can hear you. Can't hear you. Let's see. Still can't hear you. Dang, okay. Let's try to add you back, my mans. This is rough, y'all. Like I said, yo, I never felt so technologically unsound in my life, dog. This is crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I never felt so technologically unsavvy in a day in my life, yo. Like this is tough. Not gonna lie to you. We're gonna get it done. And we started a little late, but we're gonna make the episode worth it. I promise. I can assure you. You know what I mean? So Dr. McCool should be hopping on soon. Yes, sir. Yeah, we got a lot of music this week too. I'm gonna actually go down the list. We got some fiery takes. Some fiery takes to come. I know I might surprise a couple folks. We talking all-time rapping lists. We're talking about like Cordae's new album, The Crossroads, which, I may contend. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to give you too big a preview, but I feel like that's going to be considered one of my favorite albums of the year. You know what I mean? It might be, or it might be considered one of the worst. I don't know. We'll see. But I gotta wait until my co-host, my right hand man, gets on here so we can really dive into it. But it's going to be a lot of good conversations to come. Yeah, and this is a good time, bruh. Like, I don't know about y'all. I'm feeling a little festive, bruh. Thanksgiving is coming up. I'm excited to see what the chat has going on, what albums, what projects they're listening to for the holidays. There's certain classic ones you can't really duplicate or replace. You know what I mean? So we can talk about that as well. All right, brother McCool. Let's add you back to the stage. We can hear you now, brother.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, man. It's good to be heard. There we go, man. Hey, look,
it's good to be heard.
It's good to be heard, man.
Ain't
I'm not gonna lie. Streaming makes me feel old, man. Hold on. We got
Bro, I was just saying that solo. I'm like, yo, I never felt so technologically unsavvy a day in my life, bro. And this is a person who has a multimedia business. And I'm like,
same.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like for real. But we're here.
It's a different world, but we're here. So let's get the show started, man. I want to welcome everybody to episode 20. This is the live edition. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Jeremy C. McCool.
And I'm Earl Hopkins. What's up?
This is Rap and Reason Podcast. What's going on, bro?
Episode 20, man. We, like I said before, we've been, just grinding, bro. Like, when we first talked about this podcast, I don't know if we were in a cigar lounge or one of our people's cribs, but we talked about this would be hard work. But, like, I don't think, at least for me, I can't speak for you, I didn't anticipate how hard a work that would be. You know what I mean? But we're here. These are the rewarding parts of it, though. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
And I knew that the biggest hard thing was always going to be consistency. And because we both have hectic schedules, I'm proud of us, man. I'm proud that we kept this going consistently with our schedules that we have. And I think that's to be applauded. Like the fact that we've been consistent weekly and made it to episode 20, man, is dope. And man, as long as y'all keep supporting, we'll be here. We'll be here with these music reviews. The followers we've built and the listeners that we've built have been consistent and engaging, and it's love, man. It's love to connect with other people who have the same passion for hip hop that we do. So yeah, we'll be here.
We'll be here. That's a fact. And let's kick this off, bro. So over the week or the past week, I saw one of the worst top 20 rappers lists I probably have ever laid eyes on, bro. Like, this is one of them. Like, you know how like every couple years, like, you know, like an outlet, kind of like a double XL, they'll post like a rappers or their own personal top 20, top 50 lists. Those are typically bad. We kind of expect those to be notoriously biased or just plainly bad. But Aries Spears, who we're also not looking to for probably hip hop knowledge, though,
No.
truthfully, but he had one of the worst lists. He actually he felt he can name at least 20 rappers better than Kendrick Lamar. And among those names, no disrespect to the man, was Cannabis. What do you have to say about maybe that, but just the notion that 20 rappers on an all-time list could top Kendrick Lamar?
So I want to start. I want to start by saying that you know, Aries Spears is known as a comedian. We actually helped bring Aries Spears to campus when I was in college, which was an interesting experience for sure. Funny dude, does some funny impersonations, all of that good stuff. But that take is crazy. And this is no shot to Cannabis. Cannabis used to be a great lyricist and was groundbreaking in that way during his time. So this is not a shot at Cannabis, but to say that Cannabis is better than Kendrick Lamar, I don't even know any way to justify that argument. Like I said, Cannabis was a great lyricist, but like the careers are just like night and day. So it's a very odd thing. And you know what? One thing that this brings to mind for me, and naming 20 rappers better than Kendrick Lamar for me is ridiculous. Now, of course, hip hop is subjective.
Of course.
And there are a lot of dope hip hop artists, but to name 20 better than Kendrick in my mind is just blasphemous.
Crazy work. And
crazy work just because of his body of work and the amount of albums and work that he's put in that have been classics. That's hard for me.
How many classics does Kendrick have, bro? What's a safe number?
Ooh, that's a great question. How many classic albums does Kendrick have? I think anything less than 2 is disrespectful. I will probably say 3.
I would say 3. I could possibly argue 4 with the years to come. I think when we look back years down the road, we can say that maybe an added one could be maybe a 4th classic. Actually, I think 3 is safe though. I think
what are they? I think it's 2 that aren't negotiable. Good Kid, Mad City is not negotiable to me.
Non-negotiable.
Damn is not negotiable to me.
Non-negotiable.
Those 2 albums, there's nothing you can say that's gonna change my mind. To Pimp a Butterfly is also in that 3 for me.
To me, that's non-negotiable. But like
for me, it's not negotiable. But I know that there will be people who will try to negotiate it. For me, it's not negotiable. I agree with you there. So I think it's 3, but anything less than 2 is ridiculous.
And some people the reason I said 4 is because of Section 80. Like I think to me, Section 80 it's arguably a classic. I know for a fact it's a great album. It's
a phenomenal album. The only reason why I wouldn't necessarily call it, I love Section 80. The only reason why I wouldn't necessarily say classic is just because it didn't necessarily reach the masses in that way. And I don't think it had the level of impact that the other albums that we're talking about did. And I think it's just because it was early in his career. So that's the only reason why. As far as sonically and musically,
it's beautiful, bro. It's great project.
Yeah. When I say a classic, I usually am judging it by a couple different categories. I'm judging it by like production, like the actual body of work, as far as the songs. And then I'm also judging it by impact. You know what I mean? And I think that's the only reason why I wouldn't call Section 80 a classic. But I love it though.
And people always, when people say impact, they always equate it to album sales. And the reality is you can make a sonic impact that's maybe not even necessarily felt in the moment, but it's like people point to years later. Like
100%.
To me, I would have to do research, but I don't think GZA's Liquid Swords, it definitely didn't blow like album sales out there. You know what I mean? It didn't go crazy in that regard. But I can say when I'm listening to maybe rappers that came along after, they point to GZA as like someone who they looked up to lyrically. You know what I mean? So, and Liquid Swords to me, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, this is just to me a continuation of 36 Chambers. Like it's beautiful in the same way. It's just a solo artist versus a group. You know, so.
and it's funny because I just had my students listen to a song off of Liquid Swords called labels.
Yeah.
About the record label industry and how it's exploited artists. And yeah, I definitely think I get what you're saying in that regard. So I think it's a classic in the regard of like it's a hip hop classic.
Yeah, for sure.
If we're just talking about for hip hop fans, yes, Section 80 is definitely that. But I think for a wider audience and for like big impact, no. And I don't necessarily even attribute sales to that. And honestly, what are sales even today?
That's what I'm saying. What is it? What's the metric? Is it 1,000 streams that equals one album sold?
Yeah, which is
like that's crazy, bro. Like, what are we talking about?
Which is ridiculous. So yeah, no. But I don't understand people who don't have Kendrick in their top 20. But I will hear people out because I mean, if you're gonna go and name people who are like dope lyricists, if you're gonna go and name like 5 of the members from Wu-Tang and put them in before Kendrick, you know what I mean? Like they can rap on the same level as Kendrick, but like bodies of work and career, you know what I mean? I think there's a difference as a standout. So, I don't think Aries Spears knows what he's talking about.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. But again, that like points to a larger topic. I feel like regional bias is like something that people just can't stray away from. Like Aries Spears from New York, so in his top 20 list, he named mostly, if not all, East Coast artists, whether they were from Jersey or New York. You know what I'm saying? For me, like us being from the Midwest, I feel like we had no choice but to kind of look to other areas or coast or regions because, like for a time, for me at least, being from Columbus, Ohio, like we didn't have any standout artists besides a Bow Wow from my city or a Kid Cudi from Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't look. You're from Chicago, so you have clear artists and influencers to think about. But I was forced to venture elsewhere musically sometimes within hip hop. So I don't feel that regional bias, but that bias is strong, bro.
It's strong. And 2 things. One is I need Ohio people to put respect on Bone Thugs and Harmony.
We've
had this conversation before. I don't like that y'all don't mention Bone Thugs and Harmony. Bone Thugs and Harmony is one of my favorite groups, which to a lot of people was shocking, but I don't know why, because they were dope. Like East 99 was a phenomenal album. I loved it. And I just have always loved their sound and how unique their sound is. So I think y'all should rep Bone Thugs a little bit harder because they were fired. But I get what you're saying though. And the worst people to argue with hip hop about is people from New York.
Easily.
Which Aries Spears is from. And I think that New York bias is different. If you ask New York people their top 5, you're rarely going to hear anybody mentioned in the top 5 or top 10 who's not from New York.
Facts. That's a fact.
And I think that they have an extra layer of bias just because of the fact that with New York being the birthplace of hip hop, I think that they have another level of bias compared to like, if it's not from here, I don't think it's legitimate. So I think that there's another layer on top of theirs. Me being from Chicago, I have a smaller level of bias. I think that there's a level of bias. Like, of course, I'm a huge fan of people like Common, like Lupe, like Ye, like Chance, like that ilk of hip hop artists from Chicago. But at the same time, I also am inclined to love Southern rap music because that's where my roots are from too. But as far as New York or West Coast, like I like artists from both. I've never really been necessarily pulled further in one direction or the other. But New York people, man, when I argue with New York, East Coast people, really, period. But New York people are really like they do not put any non-New York artists in front of New York rappers.
None. And even like I think today, like the hip hop fan of today, if you're from like Atlanta, your world is Atlanta. So I think it still exists. It just looks different. Like that regional bias is depending on where you go, it exists everywhere. But I feel like New York is just maybe on another level. LA might just be on another level.
But you know what? The interesting thing is New York hasn't led hip hop. Haven't been the leading sound in hip hop in a long time.
What you thinking, like 20 years almost? Maybe 20 years?
I'm going anything prior to Dipset and 50 Cent.
I was about to say, like, that's probably the last.
That's the last time where they were the leading. were leading the charge on what the sound of hip hop was.
For sure.
As far as like the newer modern music. Of course, they
Mm.
laid the groundwork, and a lot of artists in New York laid the groundwork for what the sound will become. But as far as like their mainstream artists being in the forefront and the leading, like, you know, I haven't seen that since early 2000s.
Yeah, not in the same way, because if you think about it now, New York to me is at a place where they're kind of not lingering, but they've attached themselves to other regional sounds now. So
Absolutely.
now for the first time, we're seeing them kind of venture out to other regions to find whatever sound that's at the center of their city now. Like, I listen to New York drill. Like, New York drill is obviously a branch off of Chicago drill's tree. And that's what's like low key popping now, or has been popping.
For a
And
while.
it's kind of odd. Yeah, for a while. And it's kind of odd because New York is known for this sound, and it's now evolved into this. It's not to say that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just the first of first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. And I will say the last time where I think there was two parts where New York might have messed up as far as not really rallying behind certain artists. I think that they had a chance to really rally behind two different sets of groups.
Okay.
I think Joey Badass, they should have really rallied behind Pro Era. And I think they should have really rallied behind even ASAP more. And I think that could have been a chance for a New York resurgence on a different level. But I think that those artists really blew up outside of their cities more than they blew up in their cities. So I think that it was a different dynamic.
Which is crazy, because when my level of fandom was kind of growing as an early teen, like maybe 14, 15, I was actually gravitating towards Joey Badass and Pro Era, the Underachievers, who else? Flatbush Zombies, like, and ASAP Mob. Like that, the era of supergroups was very vibrant in New York. Like, of course, you had Odd Future out in on the West Coast, but like in New York, that's what was popping. And that retro 90s kind of sound was being revitalized, and which is true to New York. But you're right. Like, I don't feel like people really got behind it, especially when you look at, like, you know, radio. Like, it wasn't really getting any play. Like, maybe not within New York, but it didn't seem like it was really, people got really behind it as much. It seemed like at the time they were thinking, why are you like rekindling this old sound? And when it comes to ASAP Mob, I felt like New Yorkers would ask themselves, why did you go to Houston to pick up the chopped and screw sound? Like, you should be true to New York. So it's like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying?
And I agree. And I think another component and layer of it, which is a longer discussion. I know we have album reviews to get into, but I think another component is, I think there was a time when New York shifted from the conscious rap to more street rap. And I think that at that time, if you weren't quote unquote hood or tough or street or had that type of imagery, I don't think you were necessarily propelled to the forefront and people with the same level that people did, like a 50 Cent. Like, you didn't really get that with a Joey Badass and that collective, where it's not that they're not necessarily pushing that type of rhetoric or have that type of background. I don't know them personally, but that's not what they necessarily conveyed in their music.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like the same thing with Tyler, the Creator. Like, the West Coast not really rallying behind Tyler, the Creator like that. It was just like, this is not what we view as the representation of what a New York rapper is supposed to be right now. You know, I think that played a role in it too. But yeah, speaking of New York rappers.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We do have a couple reviews to get through, and I want to start off with the throwback review, man.
Okay.
This was actually requested from one of my guys, Adrian, man. Shout out Adrian.
Adrian, man. Good brother too.
Yeah, good dude, man. And I want to shout him out because he reached out and was like, hey, man, why haven't y'all reviewed a 50 Cent album yet? And I thought about it, and I was like, man, we haven't done Get Rich or Die Tryin'. So I want to get into that, man. Get Rich or Die Tryin'. I will say that this is one of the most impactful moments in hip hop history, just as far as just like all eyes on one artist and one movement. There's not many moments that I could think of in my lifetime that were bigger than when 50 dropped. And yeah, man, what were your thoughts when you first heard Get Rich or Die Tryin' by 50 Cent?
For sure. Like, for me, this might be the most recognizable album cover in my youth period. Like the Louis fit, the broken glass, you know what I mean? Like, it's just an iconic cover, and the songs and the music, the everything just matched. Like for 50 to be behind, like Dr. Dre and Eminem, like to be hoisted as the next superstar in rap and to back it up with songs like Wanksta, In the Club, PIMP, like, bruh, like he was primed to be a superstar, and this album is reflective of that, like in every way. The production is top tier. Like those songs I just named are one of many that just like kind of blows you away because they still sound, I can't say necessarily they sound maybe not modern today, but they definitely have that timeless element to it. And like, yeah, I mean, bro, he had one of the biggest debuts, I think, in the last maybe 25 years in hip hop. And this album, paired with the fact that there's a movie adapting his life, you know what I'm saying? And essentially the making of his music career, bro. Like it's just 50 was on top of the world. And when you listen to this album, you revisit it after almost over 20 years of its release, you start to discover why he was such a big musical mainstay and why his now presence as pretty much like a film and show producer is just so out of like box. But you see why he's so revered as a musician too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that with 50 Cent branching outside of music, I think that there's a whole generation who doesn't know him as a rapper. And I think that is unfortunate, man, because this was one of the best debuts. 2 album debuts in hip hop history. Like Get Rich or Die Tryin and The Massacre are both amazing albums. And just to go into some of the songs that I really love, my first time hearing 50 Cent was Wanksta, which is from this album, man. Fire. The production on this album is great. A lot of Dr. Dre, a lot of Eminem production as well. What Up Gangsta?
Fire.
Tough. Patiently Waiting, another one, man. That was different. Many Man, man. Many Man is actually a song that I use in class currently. I used it in my hip hop course this semester. I think that it paints such a vivid picture of what somebody in the streets could be dealing with and going through. It's just an amazing hip hop song.
It is.
And even though I know our incoming president co-opted Many Men, and I hate that for this song, because this song is I don't want to see that attached to any politician, to be honest with you.
Not at all.
Many Man is just a different type of record, man, that I have a different level of love for. But Many Man, amazing. In the Club. When this album came out and that song dropped, you weren't going anywhere without hearing In the Club. No, like
nowhere.
The grocery store, the mall, anywhere you went, that song was playing, man. PIMP, believe it or not, man, me and my girls rap this disrespectfully to each other all the time. This is a song that for some reason, it has brought us closer together.
Wow.
Yes, very random, but love that song, man. 21 Questions is one of my favorite songs on this album. 21 Questions, I think Nate Dogg killed the chorus. Nate Dogg doesn't get
every chorus.
Doesn't deserve he does not get the respect that he deserves in music, especially in hip hop, man. I think that Nate Dogg was able to really alter the entire vibe of a lot of hip hop songs out of the West Coast and outside of the West Coast, like in an album like this. And I think that for that, man, he'll always be remembered. 21 Questions is a dope song. Another song that I really love, man. It's just a solid project, man. Dr. Dre's production on here is amazing. Eminem has some production on here. A lot of people don't really give Eminem credit for production and for him being a producer on other people's songs, but he's produced some solid tracks in his career. One of them on here being Patiently Waiting. I always thought that was some dope production on that song. And yeah, man, I think it's just an amazing body of work. I think that when it comes to what people label as gangster rap, I hate to put that label on certain albums just because, like, this is clearly him telling his story and his life. So I hate that we slap labels on it. But I think for those type of street albums, I think this is high on the list. And I think for the 2000s, it's one of the highest on the list. I think as far as that goes, just as memorable. albums. Not a lot of wasted space on here. There's a few songs I could do without on this album, but not many. There's way more songs on here that I love than ones I don't like. There's only a few on here that I skip. So yeah, man, just an amazing project.
Yeah, and get into the ones I skipped. There's only probably one that I'm like, yo, I have to skip this. Like, I can't listen to this on Get Rich or Die Tryin'. Is like my style, and the only reason is because I love Tonya Yayo as a personality.
I knew
He's the wildest interview subject I've seen on a Vlad TV. I watch Vlad. I'm sorry, like it's not him, it's the guest. For me, but yeah, I don't want to hear him rap personally. You know what I mean? But he's a great entity within hip hop for other reasons other than rapping, which is crazy. But others exist.
Yeah. And you know, yeah, I got off Vlad, man. I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But I understand because he has some guests that like that's the only place you hear them. So that's
what I'm saying. And they diving into their whole life story too. You don't get to see that often. Like I know when I do interviews, you get 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And it's like, yo, I want 2 hours to talk about, you know, how you got to this point in your life. But you know, it's good for that. But yeah, like you said though, man, great album. It deserves classic status, bro. It's one of the best. And we actually had this discussion too. Where would you rank maybe Get Rich or Die Tryin' as far as debuts, maybe, or just albums in general? 2010.
Debuts, period. This is probably top 10 hip hop debuts.
Period in hip hop. All 50 some years. Okay.
I would really have to sit down and think about it, but it's gonna be hard for me to find 10 better because a lot of artists their first albums isn't their best.
Yeah, I think Tupac. We talk about that with Tupac, or I do at least a lot. Yeah,
Tupac's album isn't his best. Biggie is one of those ones whose his first album is to me his best. Of course, Kanye, Nas. You know, you could throw Lupe in there for Food and Liquor. You could throw Mobb Deep. You can throw. I mean, there's other artists, but I don't know. I think to get to 10, because even Wu-Tang's first album isn't my favorite album. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that's tough. I would have to like think about that more though. But
I really like Wu-Tang Forever. Wu-Tang Forever is my favorite Wu-Tang album.
You know what?
I think it's the best. It has the best production on it too.
You might be right, yo. I might if what I would herald as like if aliens came down to Earth. We talked about this. If aliens came down to Earth, 36 Chambers would be one of the maybe 15 albums I would play for them. Like, yo, this hip hop. But at the same time, Wu-Tang Forever is something I feel has more replay value now for me. So I agree.
Yeah, and I agree. 36 Chambers is definitely one of those.
Classic, bro.
Yeah, classic. Well, definitely. But I just don't. I just when I listen to both, I think that Wu-Tang Forever is just a more polished and well put together project for me. But I think it's also because of my work with audio stuff and with media stuff. Like 36 Chambers is mixed terribly, which I think adds character to it.
For sure.
I think works for what it is, but you could tell that thing was recorded in a basement somewhere. Like that project sounds like it's not mixed the best.
It sounds musty, like sonically, bro. That's the best way I could put it. It sounds like it has a stench on it. Like, you know,
but it works though.
Yeah, it works.
I think it adds to the character. I wouldn't want it any other way. But I think at the same time, the replay value for Wu-Tang Forever is just cleaner.
It's almost like in our era, it's almost like listening to what's the joint? Like vinyl, like on an actual record player. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is for us as, you know, young consumers too.
Absolutely.
You know, for sure. So I got you, but it has that character to it.
Yeah, but it'll be hard for me to name 10 that I like better than this. I mean, we also got to go Lauryn Hill.
Oh, of course. That's like one of my favorite albums ever, bro.
Yeah, me too. That's up there. Like across genre, that's up there.
For sure. That's tough. I would have to think
we have to maybe we'll do that for next pod, man. We'll come up with a list of top 10 debuts.
That would be fire.
Yeah, because it's gonna be hard, but I think it's close. It's close up there for me. I think that this one is like I said, it's just a standout, and I like how versatile it is. Like it's very, very versatile, and it gives you everything you want as a listener. No matter who you are, there's gonna be a song on here that sonically resonates with a listener. Like there's songs, there's records that are for the women. There are records that are more hard that go crazy in your car. There's more like introspective, deeper records like a Mini Man. There's every type of record on here. There's club records. So I think like that's one thing that I really give this album a lot of credit for. Is just it's extremely versatile, and you can there's a lot that you could take away from it. No matter, I don't think there's anybody who could listen to this album and not find a song they liked.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And you're right in that it's versatile. There's even like a song, like a PIMP, like we talked about this. I couldn't imagine any Caribbean, like it's just an odd song I never thought a 50 Cent would hop on, but he makes it work. So that's a credit to his songwriting ability. And like I don't think 50 gets enough credit. Partly I think it's because G Unit, like it had a moment. Don't get it mistaken. But I feel like a lot of his artists outside of game didn't necessarily blow up to the same level as 50, but his eye for talent and his written ability is proof when you listen to Game's first album. Because Game's first album, was it the documentary? That's one of my favorite debuts in that era, probably.
That's a great album. That's a great album, man. Game had a couple albums, man, that are amazing. He doesn't get credit because of all the theatrics and some of his. I feel like his stuff outside of rap got more attention than his actual music, and that's unfortunately because he's a great rapper.
He's a great rapper, and he a troll. He's a great troll too. So that's why, you know what I mean, people can kind of get distracted from the talent a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But look, if you have never heard "Give Rich or Die Tryin" by 50 Cent, we highly recommend it.
Yes,
I think this is one of those albums that, as a hip hop fan or as just a music lover in general, you should at least check out one time.
At least once, bro.
At least once, man. So shout out to 50. On another note, man, we have a newer album that we want to talk about. And that album is by Cordae.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What's the name of Cordae's joint?
Crossroads.
The Crossroads by Cordae.
Yes.
Man, what were your initial thoughts when listening to this project?
So my initial thoughts, because I like to think big picture. So I'm like, where is Cordae's mind at right now? Like from Bird's Eye View, that's his second album to come out. I feel like it came and it went because his first album, Lost Boy, 5 years ago, that one was like heralded like by a lot of hip hop critics, a lot of his fans. I think that's where he got a lot of his fan base from a music standpoint, because of course he was with YBN. But he separated himself with that project because I think that's one of my favorite projects in the last 5 years, especially when it comes to the artist debut. You feel me? So I'm like, okay, where's his head at? Because the second album didn't really live up to the same hype, I don't think. And now when I listen to it and I'm reflecting on his new album, The Crossroads, I'm like, bro, I feel like this man, I don't know if he like used some AI generated machine or something, but it seemed like he took all the criticism for the second album and then resolved all those things for this album. Like this album, number one, is seamless, it's cohesive. The production is better. The lyrics are more focused. It's more poignant. It's just better in every way. Like when I listened to 06 Dream, and I'm like, okay, so I knew Cordae was a storyteller. I knew that he was a lyricist. But this song right here, he's talking about his mom's, musical aspirations and essentially failures and how that happened and how it, inspired him to be the kind of artist that he is, bro. The way he was saying it or relaying all that type of stuff, bro. Yeah. This is like top tier artist type of, behavior, bro. Like I love Wayne's features on here on Back on the Road and Saturday Mornings. I'm a big Jordan Ward fan. We talked about this too. I love Don't Walk Away. Never See It with Juicy J, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. So, and then Shia Feeney, believe that's his daughter's name. So a song dedicated to her. And what it is to, essentially be a father, a young father at that. And Syrup Sandwiches. We talked about that single on a previous episode and how we enjoyed that one. So yeah, bro, this project is one of my favorites of the year. And it's crazy because we talked about this as well. Why does everybody drop the best stuff at the end of the year when it's number one, not Grammy eligible until the following year? And on top of that, it's like, bro, we're set for the holidays. After I get off this podcast, I'm probably going to be playing Boyz II Men's Christmas album, bro. Like, that's where my mind is at. But regardless, I appreciate this album, man, in every way. It's one of my favorites of the year. What's your thoughts on it, bro?
No, bro, I'm right with you on that one, man. I think that it's amazing. I feel like I left the album understanding who Cordae was as a person more. And I think that that's, for me, something that when I leave an album, you know, there's some artists who are just singles artists who you know, they make a cool song here and there, and that's fine. But when I leave a project, I feel like I should leave understanding you a little bit more and your perspective, your thought process, and a little bit more about your story. And I think I got that out of this album, man. Like you said, 06 Dreamin' is just an amazing song that I really appreciated, man, because it was talking about your mother's story and her failures and how it ended up impacting your life, number one, because he talks about going through the process of like his mom going on American Idol and him feeling like, oh man, we are about to, like, we done made it. Like I'm about to get the clothes I want. You know, we're gonna move into a better spot, all of that, and then watching that not work out and how that impacts you growing up, seeing things like that. I think it was just a dope perspective that I would have never known about him. And I thought that he told the story in an amazing way and how it kind of led him into his music career. Yeah, amazing, man. That's one of the standout songs for me for sure. And I like that he led the album with that. The intro was dope. I like that he showed some love to Bone Thugs with the Crossroads sample. I would look through the credits, man. I was a credit person when I used to listen to albums. I used to actually flip through the credits to see who was a writer, who was a producer. I did that on the intro, and I was confused because the Isleys are all credited on there. And I don't know what they did. Sense. Maybe they played a piano or something in the background. I don't know. Maybe they just were in the studio and he just wanted to show some love. I don't know. But
like, that's crazy. But
I did peep that the Isleys were on there, and I was like, am I missing the Isley sample here? But maybe there is one. But yeah, loved it. Him and Anderson .Paak, man, I love their collaborations. I'd heard both of these collabs already prior to him. He'd already released them, but I thought that they were both fire. I think 210s is one that stands out for me with those Anderson .Paak ones. Summer Drop, another one that's fire. Never See It with Juicy J, man. We really got to show Juicy J more respect as a producer, man.
We do, bro. He produced it? I didn't even know he produced it.
I don't know. I know he produces a lot of his stuff. Let's see. Let me go. Look, don't get me lying. Oh, no, he didn't produce this one. He didn't. Okay. I'm giving him credit that he don't deserve, but it's still fire nonetheless. Nonetheless. Dope, man. I think that's another standout for me. Another one that I liked the one about Shy Feeney, the one about his daughter, I thought was fire. Now You Know is another one that I liked. And yeah, man, I think it's just a really impressive album overall. There are a couple songs on here that I skip, but not many, man. I think it's really concise. It's not a lot of wasted space. It's really and it's impactful. Like I said, each song sounds different, but they all still kind of blend and mesh together well. And I think that, man, Cordae is a standout talent for his generation, man. I'm saying his generation like we all not the same age. He probably our age.
We're the same age, though.
He's probably our age. For our generation, he's a standout, man. And it's good that we have somebody who is able to really resonate with the younger generation the same way that other artists did for us. So definitely, man, if you have never heard of Cordae, I highly recommend checking out this project. There's a lot of Kanye influence. I know I heard it immediately when I listened to this was the Kanye influence. There actually is a Kanye feature here that I don't care for that much, shockingly. I love the Kanye influence and the Kanye samples on here. He samples Heard Him Say, which is one of my favorite Kanye songs.
Out of here, yeah.
And I liked what he did with Heard Him Say. I thought that it was a good remake or reinterpretation of that song. I thought that was dope. But the actual Kanye feature on here is just like I expected Kanye to do a verse. It's just a chorus, and it's like not really on beat. It's just the song is cool, but I think that it was underwhelming. It's called No Bad News. I just thought the chorus for a Kanye feature on this type of project is this polished. I thought I expected more when I saw Kanye's name on here. I thought it would be a verse.
Yeah. Like this polished, but also this heavily influenced by Kanye. Like the album that comes to mind, it reminds me. I was trying to figure it out. It reminds me of Late Registration. I feel like where they took a lot of notes from Late Registration and then applied it to this album. So yeah, so I was disappointed that we didn't get a verse from Ye. I feel like a part of me feels like I have no indicator of this. This is just me just being who I am. But I just feel like he had a verse. The verse maybe wasn't up to par, but Cordae still
Oh,
wanted
don't
him
do
on the
Kanye
song.
like that, man. Why you
Bro,
saying
listen,
Kanye had a trash verse? Don't do Ye like that.
listen. I remember when Ye, like, what was it? Because he was supposed to be on Donda. Soldier Boy was supposed to be on Donda. So you heard about that story?
I did. I remember that,
Bro, hilarious.
But that verse was terrible though. Like,
yeah, it was bad because it didn't fit the song. Number one, Soldier, like, what was Soldier doing? You know what I'm saying? But I feel like maybe Cordae soldiered. Yay, I don't know, but at least he was on the song. I think that he wanted the collaboration to still happen.
bro,
Just had to make sense.
You
feel
can't.
me?
You can't soldier Kanye, man. No,
You can't because he won't let you. But like, if you ease the solderness into the situation, I feel like you can work. You can make it work, bro.
Nah, man, you can't do that with Ye. But no, that might have been the case for real. I don't know. I just expected more out of that feature, man. Because when I saw his name on there, when I was listening to the album, I'm like, man, this album sounds like an old Kanye album. Like,
it does.
As far as subject matter, as far as vulnerability, as far
samples,
as the samples, like definitely was reminiscent of that. So I expected a little bit more out of the Kanye sample, but the Kanye verse. But it's all good.
Let me ask you this: like, do you feel like because when I was listening to Travis Scott's Utopia, I thought to myself, this is Jesus. I'm listening to Cordae's album, The Crossroads, and I think to myself, this is late registration. Is it weird hearing like today's artists now try to interpolate, replicate, or be heavily influenced by albums that you literally grew up listening to, like that are not even that old for real? Like, is that weird? It's weird to me.
I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a little weird. And I think it's weird because, like you said, because it's not that long ago. You know, of course, hip hop was built on samples, and that's a part of what hip hop is at its core. Hip hop was built around reinterpreting already existing music. So, on that regard, it makes sense. But I think that when you're taking something from an artist who's only like 40 something now, and you know what I mean, like an artist who's still active, and you're sampling their music, I think it is weird a little bit. And when I hear some of it, it's hard for me to not hear the direct Kanye influence. And I think because I grew up listening to Kanye's music, it's like, it's not that old. But it is, though, when you really think about it.
Yeah, because
album almost 20 years. I mean, Late Registration is probably, 15 years old? You know what I mean? So, I mean,
when that come out? 06? So it's 18 years old.
Almost 20 years old.
Yeah. And
when we're just getting old, brother.
Yeah, when I think about it too, like, because a Tribe Called Quest used to like Q-Tip or whoever was chopping up the beat would be, you know, sampling stuff from the 70s. So in essence, it's really not that different. I think for us, we're getting older. It feels different.
It feels different, and I think it feels different because we're hearing rap sample rap, which I think is new. Rap is relatively young as a genre, so I think that it was different when you heard rap sampling R&B or rap sampling blues or jazz or funk. I think that felt different than a genre sampling itself. So I think that also plays a role in it. It's like you're sampling something that was sampled, you know. So I think that adds some layers of like, not confusion, but it's just like it feels like this isn't old enough to sample this.
Exactly, and they're active artists too. Like this isn't Al Green. Not Al Green, that's a bad example, but this isn't artist that's like, because even if you sample a Tupac like song, I'll be like, cool, like Tupac has been dead longer than most hip hop, like young hip hop fans have been alive. Yeah, I get it, but like with like Ye is still rapping, like, you know what I mean? So it just feels weird, but you know, as long as the quality is there, it really doesn't matter. But it's just when I think about it, I'm like, I do get a funny feeling, like, you know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is. Cordae did justice, so it is what it is.
Cordae did it justice though, and I'm not mad at it when it's good. It's to me when it's bad, that's what stands out to me. And I think that, I mean, if Glorilla could sample Boosie,
you feel me?
I mean, like you could sample Wipe Me Down. Wipe Me Down ain't that old.
Facts. It's probably not even 20 years old. Yeah, around then. It's not that old.
It's the same era. So like I think a lot of that early 2000 stuff is getting sampled more or heavily now. I think just because I feel like that is just. I think everything from the early 2000s is coming back, and we're watching it. So I think it's weird to us because we're like, man, we just lived it and we're living it again. Like everybody wearing baggy clothes again.
Yeah,
it's like y'all sampling the same music from that same era of time. So I think it's just like a it feels deja vu-ish to me. Like even when I see like my students wearing stuff, I'm like, I was wearing that when I was in school. You know what I mean?
Like legitimately, bro.
Legitimately, like I'm talking like the exact same clothing.
Like it's crazy. I was just reading a GQ article where they were talking about an NBA player literally dressing like in the 2000s, and people in the comments were like, "Bro, y'all were making fun of old heads for dressing like this, and now y'all recycling the whole style, the whole aesthetic, bro." So we're seeing that you're right in music too. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy to see, bro, because we lived it. But now I know how not my pioneers, but like my old heads felt about me kind of coming up. They're like, "Oh, y'all on those tight jeans wave, like we were doing that in the 80s, bro." Like, so it's crazy to see it happen in front of your own very eyes, bro.
And it was crazy, man. My uncles had the nerve to like criticize me when I started wearing like slimmer fit clothing, and I was like, bro, I see pictures of the Isleys and all of them from y'all generation. Like that's crazy, like
crazy with the taco meat and the chest out, like
man, with the platform shoes, with the bell, like y'all was tripping, like
y'all was tripping. Tripping is the word.
Tweaking like that, and so it's. But everything comes back full circle. Like
it's cyclical, bro.
I'm really thinking about buying me some FUBU, man. You know, you know they brought FUBU back.
They brought FUBU back.
Like, FUBU is now black owned again. Like the original owners purchased it back a few years ago.
That's not a what's his name, Damon John. Mm-hmm. Did he buy it back or someone else bought it?
It's him and his partner. It was him and another guy who started it together.
That's kind of fire. And what better timing, bro? If they had like a distribution or like collaborative deal with like a Fashion Over, like Men Fashion Over or whatever, that's where you get it. Like just make it fast fashion. That's kind of what's in anyway. That's how I kind of see it.
Nah, bro. See, that's why I draw my line, bro. I can't shop at Fashion Over.
Oh, I'm not doing. I can't do any of that.
I can't log into Fashion Over as a man. You know, and this might be a flaw within.
They got some heat though, bro.
I've heard. I've never went to the site to see for myself, bro. I can't bring it's certain sites that like even that's like if Fenty. I don't know if Fenty sells men's clothes, but like if they start, I'm just not comfortable wearing something from there.
What do people go to, bro? It's not Fashion Over. Where else do they go to? It's fast fashion too. I don't even
Forever 21, H&M, Zara.
So they'll do like H&M, Zara. Those are like big box stores. When I think of like fast fashion, it's Fashion Over and like one other one. I forgot. I don't do that anymore, bro, because reality, these clothes are literally meant to like be broken apart and recycled. So if you're wearing that on your skin, bro, you know, we all got different, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to knock anybody that does it, but you gotta think bigger, right?
No, you're not wrong. It's crazy because like on campus, I advised this group called the Sustainable Fashion Club. And it was a student organization that was like all about like thrifting and like getting out of fast fashion. I didn't even know anything about even the term fast fashion or any of that stuff before I started advising that group. They put me on all of that. And I was like, man, it made me start thinking differently about clothes I buy. And like, how like we really would buy a $10 shirt knowing that like after a few washes it's gonna be done.
It's gonna be done. It's gonna be destroyed, bro.
It's gonna be shrunk. The sleeves gonna be short, and you out here throwing it out, you know.
And you out $30 or whatever it is for like whatever 3-piece, 4-piece joint you just bought. So yeah, man, wow. But yeah, bro, there's something else that kind of bubbled up too. Like, cause I know we're obviously, for those that don't know, we're writing a book on Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. J. Cole just announced that he was doing like somewhat of an audio experience that like details his life. What's up with that?
Absolutely. I think he's calling it like an audio experience. There's another name for it. I think it's called, let me get it. I want to get it right. I don't want to misquote. It's called Inevitable, and he's calling it an audio series. And it's pretty much chronicling his life from the very start of his career and forward. I think it goes up to Friday Night Lights, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's actually doing is selling it. And there's supposed to be 10 episodes. I think it costs $10, if I'm not mistaken. And he's kind of packaging up his life story and kind of and selling it direct to consumer with his fan base. You can buy it directly from his site, which I think is dope. I'm big on ownership and all of that. And the only critique I have is that you kind of could have you stepped on our book a little bit, but you also are helping out our book and giving us more information. So at the same time, brother, I appreciate you, J. Cole, man. But the thing I really like about it, I haven't listened to it yet. Have you listened to any of it yet?
So I haven't listened to it yet. Nah,
it's on my list. I plan on buying it and listening to it this week, though. And one of the things, though, that really stood out to me, that's an entirely different conversation, is he also decided to drop one of the mixtapes that really put him on the map called The Come Up and re-released it to streaming platforms, which I thought was dope, man. The Come Up is... So I got introduced to J. Cole from a mixtape called The Warm Up, the one I believe is right before The Come Up. Fire, what I mean?
Classic jump.
These, both are classic mixtapes. That was the Dat Piff live mixtapes, hot new hip hop era of music, man. And I think that it's cool to see those now get put on streaming platforms, because we went so long with having to go to YouTube to listen to these projects, which is very annoying, or having to actually I had the Dat Piff app. It was trash. No disrespect, Dat Piff, but I had to get together. That app was terrible. I haven't used it in a couple of years, so maybe y'all got better, but terrible app. And yeah, man, it's cool that now these are more accessible for audiences to listen to. And it's dope that he did it with the audio series, because The Come Up really is chronicling his journey. J. Cole is really a storyteller type of artist who really talks a lot about his life and his upbringing and where he is in the point in time. So to release your early mixtape along with your basically your life story, I think is fire.
Yeah, that's fire. And I love when artists are willing to find ways. So I know sampling can get in the way, certain clearances can get in the way. But if you can repurpose a mixtape and put it on DSPs, however you do it, bro, is always going to be appreciated for me, bro. Because I can just imagine how hard that is.
A lot of samples
feeding your fan base. Oh yeah, a lot of red tape, bro.
Yeah, a lot of red tape, just because anybody who's familiar with the mixtape era that we grew up in, man, the mixtape era is a lot of rapping over other people's beats, what I mean? And there's a lot of sampling issues with that, because it's what portion do you get if you took somebody else's full beat? Basically, it's a cover, So there's a lot of red tape when it comes to that, even with songwriters and all of that. So, but at the same time, when they re-release them, man, I think it's great, because that was a moment in history that was just amazing. Because I always say, I think I said it on a prior pod, is I feel like artists were able to truly express themselves more on mixtapes than they are on albums. And I think it's because there was less label input on those mixtapes. So a lot of times when you say man, I like this artist's mixtapes more than I like their albums, a lot of times it's just because of the fact that there were no restrictions on what they put on their mixtapes at that time, because they were giving it out for free, essentially. So the label didn't care. As opposed to, when it's a project and it's oh, we need a hit, or we need a single, or we need these type of records, and we need to work with these type of writers and these type of producers. I think that there's more hands on in the pot on that. So I think that it comes out differently. But some of the artists that came out with mixtapes, man, some of those are my favorite projects by some of those mixtape artists in that era. When we talk about a Wiz Khalifa, Cushion Orange Juice is my favorite Wiz Khalifa project. You know what I mean? Mixtape album, any of it. You know what I mean? I think it was just an amazing project. So to see an album a mixtape like that get re-released to streaming platforms where it can be exposed to new generations, I think is dope.
I think it's dope too. And one of my favorite mixtapes among a bunch of them was Joey Badass's 1999, Chance the Rapper's Acid Rap, bruh. I still place that as his best project, and it's a mixtape. Yeah.
And I do the same thing with Cole. I think I'm waiting on him to drop Friday Night Lights on there, because that's one of my favorite J. Cole projects.
That's my favorite J. Cole project ever. When you really get into it, and I'm over 2014 Forest Hills Drive, I'll take that Friday Night Lights over that.
I have to think hard on that, but they neck and neck for me. Friday Night Lights, man, I think lyrically it was just, he was in a different zone on
bro.
Friday Night Lights, man. And I think that it a project like that, that deserves the same respect that the albums do when people are talking about people's discography. And I think when you start adding them to streaming platforms, it starts putting it in the proper context for artists.
Right. Listeners can really get a grasp of, okay, like this person influenced this and had a real grasp on the culture, like a real hand on the pulse. Like, because ASAP's like, people can say what they want. ASAP Rocky is like never going to be considered one of the best rappers of his era or anything like that. But Live Love ASAP, bro, like to me was transcendent for New York rap because it showcased like a person's ability to pull from these different genres but still be New York. So like I always herald that mixtape high on my list. And Fabs, like Fab is one of the better mixtape artists ever, bro. Like what? I'll take every Fab mixtape over every Fab album, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, one second.
Yeah. Shout out to Fab, man. One of our greatest artists, bro. One of the kings of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Among the many.
Absolutely, man. So shout out to Fab. Also, Fabulous is another one of those artists too, man. When I think about mixtape artists who I like their mixtapes more than their albums.
Exactly. He's just one of those. Shoot, I would put 2 Chainz in that bowl. I know we never talked about 2 Chainz. I don't think on this whole.
I don't think we've ever mentioned 2 Chainz on this podcast.
Never. And he's like, because I used to like, okay, so there should be a genre for like people that just make people laugh. Like, because I was about to call this man Tupac. 2 Chainz, like his early works.
Mixing up Tupac and 2 Chainz is crazy.
2 Chainz, bro. I don't know if it was Boat 2 or I would just laugh at this man, bro. Like, there's a talent that comes with like having funny bars too. Like, Kanye is funny. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and that is a talent. He have one of the greatest rebrands in hip hop history. So
easily,
easily one of the greatest rebrands, man. He performed at my college for homecoming one year. I think it was my junior year, the best homecoming we had.
What year was that? Your junior year?
My junior year of college. So I started college 2011. So that was probably what 2013. 2014.
Yeah, he was on top of the world. He was on top of the mountain, bro, back then.
Yeah, he was on fire. That was like prime when he was on everybody's features. It was that era of 2 Chainz, man, and it was crazy, packed out.
Yeah,
packed out for homecoming, man. It was a great concert, and it gave me a new appreciation for 2 Chainz, man, because I wasn't the biggest on 2 Chainz music, just especially in that era, because I was really on my like conscious rap. I want to hear like bars and lyricism, and I was really on that type of time during that era. But when I saw him live and performing, no hype man, nothing, just up there, just rapping all of these songs for an hour and a half, just dolo. It gave me a new appreciation for his music. Like I was like, oh no, this is different.
For sure. And yeah, on that note too, I wanted to bring up Young Thug. This is like a topic from our producer Brandon. Shout out Brandon again. I'll say it every episode if we need to, bro. We appreciate you. He brought
up Brandon, man, our producer / student intern, man. He's also one of my students, man. He does a good job helping this show stay afloat.
Absolutely. So he had a topic that he wanted to bring up, which was Young Thug's prison release. He's already Young Thug. He's in the studio with Future and Drake, apparently, based on reports, bro. What's your thoughts about Thug's release? We don't got to get into the weeds of like the legality, but just how do you feel about him now being free making music, especially with the likes of Future and Drake, bro? How does that feel?
I think it's cool, man. I think it'll be I'm not gonna dig too far deep into the legality of it because I don't know all of the details of his case and what he's accused of and all of that stuff. But on the music side, I think it'll be interesting to see how he's able to bounce back career-wise and musically, especially with his parole. And not only that, but his stipulations on him not being able to talk about any gang activity or any of that in his music anymore. I think that'll force him to be more creative, you know what I mean? And really, as far as like what he's talking about and substance in his music, I think it's going to push him further to venture out into talking about different subject matter. And I'm looking forward to hearing it. I want to hear him on. I've already heard him with Future and with Drake, so that doesn't necessarily excite me that much. But I'd like to hear him with some other artists though. There's some other artists who I would love to see a Young Thug collaborate.
I want to see him with Erykah Badu. Don't know why that.
There we go. There we go. Now you talking. Now you talking. Young Thug and Erykah Badu. Now that sounds crazy.
Yeah, but no, I agree, bro. Like I'm excited to hear Thug's music. Because it's been a while. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been listening to Young Thug clones and his old work, but other Young Thug like esque artists, because I missed Young Thug's presence in rap, bro. Because I don't really count like the album he dropped when he first got incarcerated, essentially. Like it didn't feel like a Young Thug album that was really curated by Young Thug. It just felt like a compilation of just stuff he was half worked on. You know what I mean? But I'm excited to see what kind of growth he's possibly made as an artist, because he's now, if capable of talking about certain things or alluding to it, he may like talk about his experience. And I think that's an important discussion to be had, like when it comes to these type of charges, this type of experience, and everything, especially when you essentially were at the top of your game. So I'm excited for that, and it will push him to be more creative, because I'm sure there are certain limitations on what he can say straightforward. So maybe he can allude to it like Gunna has done after his legal situation.
I don't even want him to allude to nothing. I feel like
you don't even want him to do it at all.
Don't allude to nothing. Don't say
okay,
brother. I don't know if the one thing I am familiar with the case is that if he violates, he has to go back and serve 20 years. It's not like he go back in for a couple years. No, but you might not want to say nothing. Don't even say gang as an ad lib.
Sheesh.
Your next album should be a gospel album, sir.
Or go back to rock. Do Thugger Girls or whatever it was.
Do your next album with Kirk Franklin.
Yo.
Not straight up. Yeah. I don't think he should be testing any of those waters. I think his next album should be way more content, and even tell your story about what you went through with court and trial and all the pain you went through with your family.
That's what I'm saying. Talk about that.
Yeah, I want to. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear more more introspective Young Thug. You know what I mean? And we've gotten that a little bit, but I'd like to see if that can go further.
Yeah, and for real depth, because like this is my biggest critique with a Young Thug. I love Thug first and foremost, but I feel like even a Gunna, like who's more lyrical, has more lyrical aptitude. Like I feel like they place you there, they get you, they talk about certain things that are soul steering, that like touch certain emotional chords, like for a brief moment, and then it's I just effed on a I'm just like, bruh, come on.
You start off dope, and then you go right back to some nonsense.
Come on. And like the nonsense is good nonsense when we in the right nonsensical situation. We're at a party, we're at a club, you know what I mean? But come on, bruh. Like give me some real substance on occasion, bruh. So that's what I want to see from Thug.
Yeah, it's almost like a lot of the music now isn't focused. It's like it's definitely it has highlights of substance, but they don't want to stay in that pocket. You know what I mean? And I don't know really why that is, but I even see I see Migos do that sometimes, where they'll be like I'll hear them like they'll be rapping about something with us, and then they just throw in some just random gibberish with it, and it's just like you messed up a good thing. You had a good thing going. You should have just rolled that out. But I think that's I hope to see that with Young Thug too, and I think that man, I'm looking forward to it. I think that he still has a lot of life left and a bright future. He was able to beat a RICO charge, which is does not occur often. So when you get a second chance to get out here and do things right, I just hope he takes advantage of that fully. I know you're a bigger Young Thug music fan than I am. He has some songs I really rock with heavy, but I've never really fully dove into a complete Young Thug project top to bottom. That's not really my bag.
Listen, I got a challenge to our viewers and to you. I want y'all to listen to So Much Fun, the album by Young Thug. Find consecutive songs that you feel are worth skipping, and then let me know, flag them, let me know what they are, because that's one of those albums that I can't. There's almost like a hit on every. Jeffrey. Okay, let's do Jeffrey.
There's some songs. Now there's some songs on my playlist that are from Jeffrey.
Bro, listen to that whole album consecutively. Okay. I don't think you can skip more. You can do 2 skips in a row. I just don't believe that, bro. If you do that, you don't like music.
Now, Earl, you also got to realize, man, what's skippable to me and what's skippable to you is 2 different skippables.
That's true. That's true.
You know me by now. You know how I am with lyrics. If the lyrics start getting trash, I'm out.
I feel you. I feel you with certain artists. Certain artists can get away with it because I'm like, you're just creating a world for me. It doesn't matter what you can say. You could give me the oopity doop scoop Kanye verse. But do you remember that song, bro?
I do remember that.
And that beat was so crazy. I still stuck around and listened to it. The oopity scoops.
See, it's going. It's getting turned off with me immediately.
Yo,
I'm as much as I love production and beats, like I'm definitely more of a lyric person. So I'm lyric first and music is secondary, unless I'm out. Now, if I'm out in a crowd of the crowd of people and it's like massive, then I pay more attention to the music. But if I'm in my car, if I'm at home, if I'm listening to music in those type of settings, if the lyrics is just awful, I just can't even. So I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna give this a try.
Yeah, man.
I got some songs that I play. Like Halftime is one that's always been on my playlist.
Banger.
Halftime Check. Like there's some songs of Young Thugs that I rock heavy. So
for sure.
But a full album, you pushing it,
bro. I'm telling you, Jeffrey. I would be steering you all wrong to say Barter 6 because number one, naming it Barter 6 is crazy because we didn't even at that time have a Carter 5, right? So many things.
Right over that one.
Yeah. But anyway, shout out to Thug, man. I'm glad he's free. I want more music though.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get the tracks going, man. Welcome home. And any other topics?
Yeah, bro. I wanted to ask you this too before we dip. I want to ask you who you're listening to. What album, what project are you listening to? Because I know you listen to stuff obviously outside of whatever we got going on for the week. What are you currently listening to? R&B, hip hop, whatever it is. What are you tuned into?
All right. I got a couple things I've been listening to lately.
Okay,
I got you. So number one, man, one of my favorite projects that came out this year is Sir's album.
Yeah.
If anybody's not familiar with Sir, man, he's my favorite. I would say my favorite R&B artist of this in the last like 10 years. Like he's the one I listen to the most out of the last 5-10 years.
Wow.
He's my go-to artist as far as that goes. He got an album called Heavy that came out this year that's fire.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about Sir is that he doesn't just make relationship singing records. And I think that a lot of singing artists got around where they think that they only can talk about love or breakups and like,
yeah.
But he has like R&B songs that are just about life, like Anthony Hamilton did, or like you know what I mean? There's just life songs about other stuff too.
Yeah.
And I think he does it dope, man. So I've been listening to Sir's album a lot. Definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't already. Ab Soul's project, man. I've been going back to a couple songs off Ab Soul's project that ended up sticking around. What else I've been listening to lately, man? Larry June, man.
Of course.
We talked about him a lot on this podcast, but man, Larry June definitely still has been getting a lot of play in the whip. Those have been some of the main ones that I really want to shout out. There's another artist, man, named Shatana that I'll give a shout out to.
Okay.
I'm hoping his next project is solid, man. He was the last artist who was signed to Dolph's Paper Route Empire label. Got some fire music too, though. But yeah, he hasn't put out a full length project yet, though. But he got a couple songs out now that are pretty dope that I would recommend. But yeah, those are the only ones that come to mind right now. Who you been listening to?
Bro, I've been listening to some ignorant stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. That's just what I do.
Ignorant, we talking.
Bro, ignorant, like so Side Baby. Yeah, we talked about this. So Side Baby, for those that don't know, dropped the album. Saheem. That's his real name. So Saheem.
Okay.
That's his like I guess I don't know if it's his first album, whatever. I just really got hooked on the Side Baby, bro, because like I told you earlier, like I've been hooked on Young Thug clones almost. And I feel like this, like Side Baby has a bit of like Cardi, has a bit of Thug, has a bit of all these other artists all in one. Especially with him being from Atlanta. And this album, dog, it's not perfect. I don't think it's worthy of us reviewing it per se, but it got some joints on here. Like I've been tuned in, bro. I'm hooked on Anaconda Living, Roll With Me. Yeah, like it's ignorant music, but it's good ignorant music, bro.
Okay.
I love it.
Like I like some good ignorant music.
Yeah.
Okay. So Side Baby, who else?
Side Baby, and this
I've never heard of him, so this is gonna be new. So you're introducing me to somebody.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it too.
That means I'm not gonna like it. Okay.
Absolutely not. But it might be an exercise and seeing what your pain tolerance is. I don't know. You feel
pain tolerance is crazy.
But another person, so I'm a big R&B guy. We're both big R&B guys, but I feel like St. Louis in particular has some magic, bro. Like because they have Smino, who is more of a rapper, more soulful, but like I still feel like he's a part of this genre that I can just consider alt and B, like not R&B, but alternative R&B, so alt and B. And I feel like Jordan Ward, being from St. Louis, also is a part of that vibe, that trend, that wave. And so he has a collaborative project with Junie, who I believe is a producer, and it's called Journey. And I've been listening. If you like alternative R&B, if you like Sir, if you like other people, Ryan Trays of the world, if you like the just those type of artists, bro, play Isaiah Falls, like listen to Journey, bro, because you'll really rock with it. So that's what's kind of all been on my mind. Of course, I'm listening to Ab-Soul, Tyler the Creator's album, but I've been listening to those two other albums like heavy.
Yeah, nice. Okay. And then I'll throw two more in there that I've been listening to in the gym. My gym playlist, all this conscious stuff that I talk on this podcast goes out the window when I'm in the gym. I just want to put that out there. I don't listen to anything conscious when I'm working out. Key Glock, man. I still been listening to Key Glock's project that he dropped in 2023, that Glaucoma 2. Has definitely
Glaucoma 2, banger, bro.
That hard. So that's definitely still been on my gym playlist. Big X the Plug joint, still hard.
That joint fire too.
That is aging really well, man. I really like that album.
Yeah, no, it's fire, bro. I was surprised how much you and I both liked it, bro. For real.
Yeah, no, that album is one of those ones for me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that
project for the year. I would say that was a sneaky, like top tier, like type project from Big X the Plug, bro.
Absolutely. Sure. And I'm not sure if he signed. He might be independent for real.
Is he? Is he indie?
I don't know. When I was trying to find out a label affiliation, and I didn't really see nothing. So I was like, I don't know if he is independent, man. Shout out to that too. I love seeing artists who are independent still getting that same love. Yeah, but I didn't see any label affiliation when I looked it up.
Yo, and did I tell the Lollapalooza story with Big X the Plug?
Nah. Let's hear it.
So I'm walking down to the media tent, whatever, because I'm covering the event in August. Lollapalooza, Chicago. And so I'm walking down, bro. And mind you, like Lollapalooza, like what is that, Grant Park or something?
Yeah,
like,
Grant Park. I used to go when I was growing up. Yeah.
Massive, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm trying. By this time, I didn't circle the entire park like 4 times, like trying to find a media tent, because I don't want to say Chicago people are rude, but if they see you need help, you feel me? Like clearly need help. And I'm running into like construction sites and everything. I'm like, bro, like where is the media tent? You see my badge. Anyway, so I'm walking down, I'm getting close to it, and I see this big dude, bro, like built like a truck, right? Like a bulldozer for real. So I'm like, bro, who is this? They got security shirtless, bro. Like what type of, I know it's hot out. It's not this hot. Bro, I run into Big X the Plug, had no idea until this man went on the stage right after that very moment. Like he was probably walking up the stage. And when he played, people went crazy. So Big X the Plug, bro, he's definitely on the right track, bro. The big guys is winning, bro. You got the Rod Waves, you got the Big X the Plugs. The big guys have always had a place in hip hop, but they winning right now.
They winning right now, man. And Big X is my first time hearing them was this joint he had called Texas that was hard.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was my introduction to him, and it was actually from somebody who's from Texas put me on it, and I was like, oh no, this is okay. All right, I see what he's doing. Yeah, man. So shout out Big X the Plug, another one, man. If you haven't checked out that album, Take Care. Make sure you check that one out too, man. So.
For sure, man. Episode 20, bro. Banger,
bro, episode 20 and our first live broadcast. And it won't be our last, man. Sometimes I'll pop on, sometimes Earl will pop on, sometimes we'll both pop on, man. But we'll try to hop on here live a little bit more often, man. Now that we figured it out, man. We felt old for a little second, but now we know how it's done.
We know how it's done, bro. And it ain't cheap, but anyway.
Another story. But yes, episode 20, man. Thanks for tuning in. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, man, look. Hit the subscribe button. It don't cost you anything. Rapping Reason. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you're listening via Apple, Spotify, man, hit us with a review. Share the link with your friends. Let them know, man. Not many people who are talking hip-hop like we're talking hip-hop. You're hearing it from a hip-hop professor, a hip-hop journalist. Yeah, man. And tune in to the next one, man. Next week, episode 21 will be coming your way. Much love.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. Peace.
Peace.